Hey guys, this is Tony with Dinner Geek Designs. Today I'm back with another Affinity video. Today I want to go through the shape tool and we'll go over some of the features that has and how you can make interesting shapes with it. If you learned something or if you like this video, like and subscribe, and let's just hop into it. So here we are with Affinity. Let's go over here and hit our shape tool, or if you want the keyboard shortcut, it's U. This panel is going to pull up, which has a lot of different options in here. So these are all the shape building tools we can do. Let's start by keeping it simple. Let's just make a square. So we're going to click this one. We're going to make our rectangle tool. Now, if I hold shift while I make this tool, it's going to keep it simply proportioned. So it's now a square. If I let go, I can now freeform. We'll keep it a square for now. Now, while I have this selected, every shape is going to have different presets and different settings in here. So here are actually all the settings for here. This one is on all of them. This is actually presets that are made. So we can go in here and there are some presets made and we can always create a preset. You can manage presets. So we'll make one, but let's go through this first. So we have this single radius will make all the same corners the same radius. So let's click that just for this right now. Let's go to corners. I want this to be a cutout. We can do round, we can do straight, concave. I want these to be cut out. As you can see, it switches it. And then over here is our slider to change how big and small these are. As you see, we change it, it works. I want to make a plus sign because for some reason I need a giant plus sign for my design. I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna go over to my presets. I'm gonna hit this hamburger menu. I'm gonna go create preset. I will do plus. Not pulse, plus. Category, none, and we'll hit OK. And now it's added. You see this little person icon? That means that it's my personal one added. We'll delete this. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to circle. We'll make a circle. Now circle has a little bit of a different settings. We can convert to donut, we can convert to pie. Let's do convert to donut just to start off. I'll hit that. As you see, we also got our settings here again. And as you can see, there's different settings, there's different partials here. Let's go through how we get those first before we go through the presets. So, our whole radius, that's the center. We can increase and decrease it as we need. Our start angle, we can choose when this starts. This now chooses how much there is and how little there is. We can also make just a little sliver. We can do the same thing with end. My usual thing is I usually like to do total angle. This allows me to get full total control, same thing. And say we like that, we can do close pie and we can invert angle. I love how this all works. Let's go back just to our regular circle. Let's now do a convert to pie. As you can see, we made a pie. We can do the same thing. We got our whole radius. We can bring back if we need to, which is great. We can do the same thing. Make it here, just like we would there. Love this tool, so great to use. Now let's go back and let's go to one of the next tools. Rounded rectangle. There's not much difference between the rounded rectangle and the rectangle tool. Pretty same straightforward tool, not that drastic. Let's go to the triangle tool. Let's make a triangle. Okay. If we go to our presets, we have right angle, we have a regular triangle. Here's where it gets a little bit different. We can change the total point. At the top, wait. So you can get in between here. You can modify that as needed. Get some crazy angles. You can also go here, and as you select that little red dot, you'll be able to do this. Let's go to the next tool. Let's go to our diamond tool. Again, we have we can get some crazy presets with these. But we can also select this and make this as weird as we need. Now let's get to some of the crazy tools. Trapezoid, same thing. We'll be able to change the left point, the right point. Similar to the triangle tool, but a little bit more control. The hexagon or the polygon tool is where I love to get this interesting. So if you see, there's a lot of different weird presets in here. Let's go through how we get some of those. Sides, we can choose how many sides we want. We can make a triangle in here, and we can then blow it up. So curve will actually blow it up. It will convex or concave it. So if you need to get a wild triangle, you can get that here. Well, let's actually go to sides and see how that works. So we can make all the way to a D20 or a 900 or a 47-sided side that almost looks like a circle. Now let's add some more curves or sides, and now let's really play with the curves and see how this looks. As you can see, it could almost become a circle or it could become an explosion. I love how we can just fiddle with this and get the right shape we want to. Let's go to the next tool. This is the fun thing I love about these is you can quickly play with these, like the star tool. This changes things a little bit. So we can add as many curves as we want. And we can either go to these dots or we can keep messing with these sliders. So inner radius, we can blow these up more. Outer circles, we can actually make this into a flower if we wanted to. We can round off these edges as needed. We can also do the same thing with inner circles. And then it can make it a wild shape. So if we actually do this all the way, it looks really wild when we start playing with this. So like I say, always play with these tools, learn how to use them, see what they can do. They get really crazy and wild. And a lot of these, if you actually learn, are in actual other programs now. So I just want to make a cool splat right now. I'm getting stuck in fiddle in the tool. Take me back to the singular days. If you're old, you know what that is. This is the double star tool. Right now I have it on a preset just because I was playing around with it. But we can get really wild with this one. So as you see, we can do a lot of crazy things. And some of these, we might have to go into this red dot to actually move. So see, we can do multiple points and we can modify how far up they go. We can do the same thing with the inner radius. Square star tool will be the same, except it's square edges. Pretty straightforward with that one. A lot of these are somewhat repetitive. Let's get into some of the more interesting ones. Let's get into the arrow tool. So by default, it's going to be double-ended arrows. A lot of people don't use that. Up here are your ends. You can choose different arrowheads, or you can choose none and make an arrow. You can choose how your arrowhead works. You can make it as big as you want. You can also do all these up here. We have our donut tool. We have our pie tool. We have a segment tool. So if you want to make a sunset, you got a tool right here to do it. And then there's all these presets again, makes it easy for you. Crescent tool, again, a lot of these are self-explanatory and it's just kind of playing with it. Just learn what it does. Don't be afraid about making something not work. I don't think there's a problem with exploring with these tools. A cog tool. Let's go through the cog tool. This is kind of two tools slammed together. So this is the donut tool and the square circle tool. Kind of. So as you can see, it can get really wild with these presets. Like we can have a cog that looks like that. We can have a cog that looks like a hazard sign. You can even do ones that just have dots. So it can get really crazy. And as you do these presets, you can see the settings that change to get you here. So if you want to now play with this, you can go back and say, all right, where did I tweak to get this? So like if we go to whole radius and we bring it back down, we now see the cog again. If we go to inner radius, we can choose how big those teeth are. If we go to tooth size, we can choose how wide those teeth are. Notches, we can choose how wide the notches are. And then curvature. And teeth, we can add or take away teeth. So, like I said, wild tool, play around with it, learn it. Let's go through some of the more crazy ones. We got cloud tool, similar to a lot of these other tools. We got callouts, so you can choose the radius. You can choose the tail height. You can choose the tail end position, which way it fiddles. You can choose where it starts. You can choose the width, yada, yada, yada. Pretty straightforward. If you're making a comic, might be good for you. Tier tool. Cry for your homies. Again, presets. You can choose the top curve. You can choose the tail position. And you can choose the bend. So see, simply we went from a straight up arrow to one that curves now. Hearts, swirls. Let's do swirls real quick. Swirls are kind of nutty. Let's increase the stroke a little bit so we can see. Alright. You can choose which direction it is. You can choose what kind it is. Like, let's do this crazy hexagon. I feel like I'm about to vomit looking at it. You can choose how many tunnels it has. You can choose how much it twirls. You can choose divisions. So many presets. Like, this looks like a wild thing that would be in a Tim Burton movie right now. You can choose the inner radius. So if you want it tighter or looser, you can. And just with a couple slider switches, we have a wildly, drastically different looking shape. We even have a QR code tool. I love that this is built in straight into Affinity. Makes it so much easier. So let's kind of switch this a little bit. Let's make this black. And then we'll have our URL we can put here. You can choose URL. You can choose text, phone, SMS, email. You can choose whatever you need this to actually be, which is great. I love that you have all these options for a QR code built into an app that you don't have to go to another program to use. You don't have to go onto a website to use. Built right in here to actually use and make a QR code. Makes it so much simple when you're designing. So good. I don't like the stroke on here. I'll go over to where my stroke tool is. I'll hit X. Bam. No stroke now. Let's go over to the last one. The cat tool. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. This tool is nothing more than a joke. Just gonna point it out there. I just love that it's here. You can have a cat added to your tool. Or added to your document. I hope you guys learned some. Really just dive into these tools. Learn which kind of shape's gonna work for your next project. There's so many different presets. Make your own presets. Just dive into it and really get into the nitty-gritty of some of these settings. If you learned something and you like this, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next one. Bye.